Hey there, anime aficionados, and welcome to a wild and wacky crossover event that will make you question the very fabric of reality. Today we're diving headfirst into a dimension-hopping adventure that's more bonkers than Hisoka at a clown convention. That's right, we're pitting the cheerful and spunky Gon Freecss from Hunter x Hunter against the muscly spiky-haired warriors of Dragon Ball. So I'm going to make a guess here and say that a good 90% of my audience has at the very least heard of Hunter x Hunter. Anyone who is into shonen anime will have heard of or seen Hunter x Hunter. It's one of the classic shonen anime a lot of people just, started out with. Like my robotic AI intro script stated before, today's video will cover the main character of Hunter x Hunter in all of his glory. Gon Freecss is a rookie hunter who just wants to find his dad, who has been missing for several years after going to get some milk. Trying to find his dad and no longer getting bullied for being fatherless made Gon make his way to the Hunter Association to take the exam and become an official hunter. Gon is shown to be very athletic and adventurous as he tackles all of his challenges with a smile on his face. Well, bar that one tiny little incident where he wanted to murder a certain cat girl guy thing. But the way I see Gon is that he is incredibly similar to Gohan actually, personality-wise. Both Gon and Gohan are extremely talented for their age, possessing abilities which go far above and beyond those of their peers. But they are also both incredibly temperamental and impulsive. Gon is a very hardworking person who strives to become stronger and better with every action that he takes. He also gets massive power boosts when he is angered. This, however, is a double-edged sword as he is also prone to becoming quite arrogant and reckless when he is angered by his opponents, often playing right into their hands. However, when Gon is calm and level-headed, he is shown to be able to cleverly and creatively think of solutions to the problems in his way. Gon really is just very similar to Gohan, at least when it comes to their personality and their overall character traits. But enough about what kind of person Gon is, I think it's high time to talk about what kind of abilities Gon can actually use to fight his way through the Dragon Ball universe. One important thing to mention is that, as per usual, I will be using Gon at his strongest possible point in the series. This includes the ability he used during his fight against Neferpito, but we will go more into detail on that one later on in the video. So for starters, we will just shortly dictate what Gon's primary type of power is. Nen is the power that is used in the Hunter x Hunter universe, and to put it as simply as I possibly can, Nen is essentially their version of the ki fighters use in Dragon Ball. Nen does however have some disparities with Dragon Ball's ki. The main one is that Nen is comprised of 6 separate variations of actual Nen. You have enhancers who strengthen themselves or another object using Nen. There are transmuters who change the quality or aura of one thing to match that of another. Think maybe something more like Full Metal Alchemist style. You have conjurers who create new objects from aura. Specialists who possess unique abilities which do not fall under any of the other 5 variations. You have manipulators who can control animate or inanimate objects. And emissioners who can detach their Nen aura from their bodies. An emissioner is probably the most similar to your average Dragon Ball character who fires ki blasts. It's the closest thing I can think of as an analogy in this case. Every Nen user is born into a Nen class from the 6 that we just mentioned. Their affinity for that type of Nen would be at 100%. They are capable of accessing every other Nen class, but their affinity for said Nen would not be at 100%. An example of this is, let's say you have 100% affinity for enhancement. This would mean that your affinity for emission would probably be 40-50% instead of 100%. You can use it, but it won't be as powerful as you would be when you're using your main type of Nen. Speaking of enhancers, Gon himself falls under the enhancer class of Nen, which means he is naturally gifted with great strength and recuperative abilities. Gon's Nen ability is called Jajanken, which is a pun on rock, paper, scissors, the Japanese version of rock, paper, scissors, and he has 3 sub-type variations of his Jajanken. His rock is a simple but very effective enhancement type Nen attack where he concentrates his energy into his fist and delivers a devastating punch to his opponent. It's straight to the point, but very tough to take head on. His scissors is a transmutation Nen technique where he transmutes his aura into a long blade that extrudes from his fingers. Think of Salsa using energy blades, Merge the Master used energy blades. It's something akin to that. And his paper is a long-range emission type Nen attack where he fires a energy blast at his opponent. One thing to keep in mind is, like I mentioned before, Gon is naturally an enhancer, which is about the opposite of emission type Nen. So this attack is much weaker compared to his rock ability, but it does still take just the same amount of energy he would use when using his rock. Even though the output of the attack is weaker, the energy and stamina he needs to have to use this technique is identical to like his scissors or rock ability. And lastly, he has his limitation transformation, quote unquote. The technique doesn't really have an official name, but it's called limitation transformation for all intents and purposes. This is where Gon managed to make a vow that allows him to summon all of the power he will ever have. This essentially allows him to transform into his adult self at the very peak of his powers that are yet to come. This incredibly busted ability does come at a very devastating price to pay. In exchange for tapping into the power he has yet to have, he gives up an equal amount of his own life to compensate for said power. After using this technique, Gon was just put back at square one and would have to relearn everything about Nen in order to regain his combat ability. In other words, this technique is an incredibly strong last resort. It's the very definition of a glass cannon. Obviously, Gon is also capable of using like all of these smaller basic Nen skills, like enhancing a part of your body or just basic Nen sensing, like sensing energy and stuff. But these four are his most prominent unique techniques, which really distance him from the other like average Nen users. But I have rambled on long enough, let's start comparing Gon to the Dragon Ball universe. And for starters, I think that early Dragon Ball would be pretty easy for Gon to blitz through. The entire like Pilaf saga and Red Ribbon Army saga would be complete fodder to Gon. He would not even need to get his ass sweaty to steamroll these bozos, and I believe the same thing would probably go for guys like Tambourine, Cymbal and Drum. King Piccolo himself would probably be more of a challenge, but I do firmly believe that Gon could pull through. His regeneration is probably going to be a problem, but Gon has access to techniques that I believe could catch Piccolo off guard and ultimately make him prevail against King Piccolo. The part where it gets more tricky for me is guys like Piccolo Jr. Like we all know by now, Piccolo Jr. can wipe entire cities off the map without real effort, and I'd say Gon's peak level of destruction normally would be more like a neighborhood-ish level. So just putting Gon against Ma Jr. normally would most likely result in Ma Jr. winning. However, an anger boosted Gon, who gets essentially the same kind of treatment as an anger boosted Gohan would, most likely be able to beat Ma Jr. His anger boosts are shown to be ridiculously strong, so I can definitely see him triumphing with the right conditions in place. I will note this though, it sure as hell would not be easy for him to beat Ma Jr. in any circumstance. So regularly I would probably cap his utmost limit to the 23rd World Tournament saga against Ma Jr. However, he does have his one trump card up his sleeve, his ability to call upon all of the power he would ever have. When he used this power against Neferpito, they were pretty convinced that he could actually beat Meruem, who was the strongest adversary they had faced yet. I would place Meruem to be about the same level as Ma Jr. honestly. Meruem was also capable of like leveling cities pretty easily, so I think that these two are like a pretty, fair comparison to place against one another. Gon being able to supposedly beat Meruem with this burst of power leads me to believe that he could get past Ma Jr. for sure and make it to Raditz. Raditz, however, would 100% beat Gon. Raditz is criminally underrated, we all know this. He was easily 3 to 4 times stronger than a post-training Ma Jr. and it took both Goku and Piccolo to just barely beat him through the skin of their teeth. Gon in his adult form might put up somewhat of a fight, but if Raditz would decide to get serious, he would end it in a flash honestly. Some characters can make it past Raditz using pure power, others might be able to get past him with a unique ability of sorts. A few others might possess items that would allow them to catch the victory, but Gon really has none of those at his disposal. It's just Gon's max strength versus Raditz's max strength, and I firmly believe that Raditz would come out on top. But still, making it to Raditz is something very few characters can say they are capable of doing. Out of maybe just an estimate, 100,000 anime, maybe 100 would be able to even make it to Raditz, let alone get past him. Beating a planetary level invader is not as easy as some might make it out to be. Raditz is one hell of a brick wall to overcome, but just being able to even make it to Raditz is something I think Gon could be very proud of. Gon really is one of my favorite main characters in anime, mainly because he is not overpowered at all. He is talented and all that, but he gets his ass handed to him more often than not, which is something I actually really like. I love that he is just human. He makes mistakes, he loses in fights, but he also keeps on trucking through, always striving to be a better version of himself. So I have ultimately decided to place Gon at the arrival of Raditz, because I firmly believe that Raditz would bring about the end of the Hunter x Hunter world. But in the end, this video is just meant to be a fun place to discuss, how far would Gon get in Dragon Ball. Do you agree with my placement, or do you think I misjudged Gon and he should be way higher or way lower on the list? Let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more similar content in the future, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon to never miss another video ever again. And I will see you guys all in the next video.